So let's talk about a few things. Today I didn't really want to make a video focused on anything. I understand that there's a few things which I could probably touch on, but I just wanted to make more of a video focused on the fact that there have been a couple of stories which I haven't been able to either cover or which I just really wanted to, spend some time talking about because I found very interesting. First, I wanted to talk about this new stat that just came out. This statistic basically says, and it's true, that LeBron James has played with 35% of the entire history of the NBA. So it is more likely, and this is a joke, that LeBron James has, if you pick out a random player in NBA history, that LeBron James has played with them, than if you pick out a random Michael Jordan three-pointer in his career, then that it's going in. That's a bit of a joke because obviously the GOAT debate. I'm not trying to compare them. I think that they're both the GOATs. But honestly, with that being said, I did want to say, like, this stat is amazing. I don't think we really value LeBron as much as we should. He is a player of a caliber which is very high, and he's been at the top of the league for 21 years. And I think that the sheer amount of things that he has done for history is something that we won't really appreciate until he's gone. And I believe that that just comes with the way that he is, the way that he plays, and the way that he carries himself. As since he's not overly dominant, he smiles a lot. He talks to the media. He talks to the media very well. He loves his family. He has everything painted so that people like him because that's the way that he carries himself. Another story that I wanted to get into was Giannis is the number one vote getter. These are the third fan returns that we get back for the All-Star game. Obviously, it gets to a point where the All-Star game, you can vote every single day. So a lot of fans don't vote every single day, as it's very, it would be a lot of votes if they would, but a lot of people vote. And right now, the number one vote getter is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Honestly, I feel like this is amazing, and I feel like when we look at these things, right, we could really see the fact that Giannis has become a global superstar. I really like Giannis, and honestly, this shows that even if he were to get the MVP, right, it's the media which wouldn't want to give it to him more than it is the fans. Apart from this, I wanted to say that the Eastern Conference is much more popular than the Western Conference, right? Is something that I'm noticing, as the East with the votes, or at least that front court, they are amazing, and I do believe that a big part of that is because of the superstar just potential there. Apart from all of this, LeBron James is number two, and I don't know if he will catch up, but he seems to be on pace, as originally Giannis was at the number one, and he has been the number one for a few weeks now. But honestly, I think the captains are going to be LeBron and Giannis, as it's going to be East and West this year for the teams. Apart from this, another thing that I wanted to talk about is the possible candidates for free agency. Not for free agency, for the trade deadline, I mean. The trade deadline has been pretty interesting this season, and I did want to say, that, no one's getting traded, but that would be ideally, DeJounte Murray is probably going to get traded. I think Atlanta is not done with trying to get Trae Young the help. I made a video on this the other day about what is it that they should do, and I do believe that they should trade DeJounte. DeJounte was never the fix. Trae Young never needed another guard taking the ball away from him, and that's just the truth. When you have a guy like that, you don't need a person who takes it away. You need a person who facilitates the ball for you. So even if you're going to run an offense where let's say you have, somebody running off ball plays and for Trey, and you try to do that, then okay, run that offense. But don't come around looking for a second ball handler to make it up for it. Then Jordan Clarkson, obviously, Jordan Clarkson is great, but I think he makes the Jazz too good, right? And even though I think that the Jazz are fine right now, they've been winning a lot of games with Fontepio making such a big impact. But I do believe that they will try to get worse by the time the trade deadline finishes, just so they could get another pick. Or they will take some minutes away from some of their better guys, and I don't know how that will translate. Finally, Jeremy Grant. We don't know if he's going to stay in Portland. Portland seems to love that dude, but really, he's one of the best two-way players, wings in the game, and he could add so much to a championship team. Then we have, obviously, the MVP list. Joel Embiid is just still on top. Jokic is second, and then Shea is third. I do want to say that Embiid has been the best player this season. I also made a video on this, but in my opinion, after he won against Jokic, that's what really proved it to me. I'm not a person who likes to be, very swayed by a game or by a performance, but I do believe that dropping 40 and 10 in your competition was really amazing. I do understand that Jokic got 20 rebounds that game and had 25 points. I believe that the MVP is pretty set right now. And I do want to say shout out to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander for being the third up. I believe he's having an amazing two-way season. And even though I do not believe that he should win it at all, because I do believe that the first two guys do deserve it more, I will say that for a guard to be back in the MVP conversation, it takes a special guard with what the big men are doing. And he's really overtaken Giannis's position, which just really shows an amazing, performance by Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So I wanted to say that honestly, the MVP, that's a pretty great conversation. And that I think that even though, yes, it is true that there are some amazing seasons which are being had, even Giannis included, because Giannis is playing great, but he's not getting the honors. I do want to say that Joel Embiid still sits at the top, and deservedly so. And with all of this being said, I wanted to talk about Pascal Siakam being a Pacer. He played his first game against Portland, where they lost. I don't really have much to say about the game itself. I did not watch it personally. Neither have I watched the highlights, as they do not seem to appear on YouTube. So the most I have to say is that I did watch every Pascal possession, and he was good. He was being Pascal. He was taking a lot of mid-rangers. He was obviously getting to his spin moves, and I don't think that the loss was due to him. He had 21.6 rebounds and 3 assists, but even though he was good, or at least was effective in his first game, I do believe that the biggest thing about this game for Pascal was getting more accustomed to the way that they play. He's been playing in a system with coaches in a place, and he's been living in the same place for his entire career. And now he comes to this different franchise in a different city in America now, where he didn't even live in America for all those years. So I imagine that it's going to take him some time to adjust fully. But I do believe that for that being his first game, it was very good. Considering the fact that he's never even like considered moving to the USA, because he's always been in Canada with the Raptors. But yeah, I shout out to Pascal. He's a great player and very professional with a great game. And I believe that as soon as Halliburton comes back to what he was after, recovering from the injuries that he had, they will get back to speed into being one of the best teams in the East again. So yeah, that's a few of the things that even if I talked about or I didn't, I just wanted to progress a little bit because I do believe that there was a lot of very important things that happened this week and these few weeks that I had to cover.